Whoa, what was that? So whether you're planning on moving to Japan or just coming for a vacation, there's some things you should know before you do. Small spaces. Real estate is very expensive in Japan, and expect to have about half the space you have back home. Also be aware that most homes don't have an oven, a dishwasher, or a dryer. Watch your head. If you're tall, you can easily end up bumping your head on the door. They're made for people that are not as tall as you. Get a Japanese driver's license between 2 to 3 months of moving to Japan. I believe they give you 6 months, but things come up. Might take you a while to get to the office. You also have to get your license translated into Japanese, which might take time. So just give yourself a little bit of extra time. But I'm not going to drive in Japan. I don't plan to have a car. You might end up renting. Take a few vacations outside of the city. You'll find out that transportation is not as easy as it is in Tokyo. You might find that trains come once an hour. The bus might come once every hour or 90 minutes. The times don't always add up either. Your train might arrive at the station at 2 p.m., but the bus left at 1:55 and it doesn't come for another hour. Street names. Most streets don't have names in Japan. There are a few like Meiji-dori. How do you give people directions? Well, you use intersections instead of streets. For example, you would tell the taxi driver, go straight down this road, and at the Shinjuku Ichome intersection, turn left. Earthquakes. You will experience earthquakes. The first couple times you feel it, it might freak you out, but you notice 10 minutes later, nobody even brings it up. But if you're living in Japan, you want to have an earthquake kit and a disaster plan. I got videos about how to do that right down there. Drinking. In my other video, I talked about how drinking is such a part of the culture, so I won't belabor it. If you don't drink, just ask for the soft drink menu. You can get a Coke, you can get orange juice, ginger ale, oolong tea, whatever. A lot of times people say, how can you do business without drinking? Just fine. Never been an impediment. It's never been a problem. Fun fact, no matter how drunk somebody gets, it never comes up again. You might say, I hear that food in Japan is delicious, but I'm vegan. There are plenty of vegan options. I got some links downstairs for Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. And if you just search for vegan Japan, you can find local restaurants. Now in the 90s, if you said you're vegetarian, people really didn't know what that meant. But now, around Tokyo, especially I can talk about Tokyo because that's where I live, there are plenty of vegan options. There are even gluten-free options. Now what about keto? In the land of excess carbs, you can find some great keto options. I recommend a steak chain called Ikinari Steak. I'll put a link downstairs. And I also go shopping at a place called Hanamasa. They have excellent grass-fed beef and Wagyu. A lot of times I'll order steak a la carte and ask for a substitution. Say, I don't want bread or rice. Could you give me more vegetables? Sometimes they'll honor this request, but sometimes the thinking is so rigid that they'll bring you a plate of rice anyway. I always put that aside. People never give you a dirty look for wasting food for some reason. And if you ask if this food has sugar in it, a lot of times you get blank stares, or sometimes they'll say, yes, but it's just for flavor. Celsius. If you come from a country that uses Celsius, no problem. If you come from the States, learn which temperatures are too hot for you. 0 is where water freezes, 30 is hot, 35 is sweltering hot. In between, you'll learn, okay, at this temperature, I need to wear a coat. This temperature, I can wear short sleeves. Just get used to dealing in Celsius. The metric system. Japan uses the metric system. Now, most of the world, seamless transition into Japan. For Americans, not so much. Just get used to doing everything in metric. So distance is in kilometers, height is in centimeters. I'm like 173 centimeters, 5'9". Also, get to know your shoe size. I wear 9.5, but in Japan, it's 27.5. And when you go clothing shopping, just get used to the idea you're gonna have to buy something one size larger than you wear back home. I wear a large t-shirt. In Japan, I wear an XL. Now, if you're plus size, go shopping before you come to Japan. You're gonna have a very difficult time finding clothes in Japan. A lot of times I go into a shop and the biggest jean size they have is 32 inches. My other video, I talked about how political correctness never landed in Japan. I went into a store one time and I was trying to get a suit coat. It was kind of an emergency. And they came back and they said, well, we don't have any clothes for people as fat as you. Fax machines. Yes, they still use fax machines. What else can you say about it? Paperwork. Expect to fill out lots of paperwork. Not everything can be done online. And you will need to get a seal. I got one with my name on it, but I'm not going to share it because, reasons. Humidity. Now, you might say, I'm from Florida. What's the big deal? Japanese humidity is really special. Let's just put it that way. When it's 35 degrees and 90% humidity and you're dressed in a suit trying to catch the train, that's humidity. In fact, the humidity can be so bad that you can wipe off your arm and by the time you get done, it's already wet again. After a while, you just give up. Like, okay, it's humid outside. My shirt's going to be drenched. Now, it gets really hot in the summer. There are countries where it gets hotter. Japan is not the hottest place, but it's all relative. When you come from like 5 degrees in the winter to 35 in the summer, it's a big change. It can be really hot. It can wear you out. Just make sure and drink lots of water. Carry a handkerchief. Most public bathrooms don't have paper towels or even those air dryers. Rainy season. Now it varies by location. Downstairs, I got a video that explains the different seasons in Tokyo. But during rainy season, just expect that there's going to be a lot of rain. Get a really nice umbrella and then get a fold-up umbrella. And check the weather every morning before you go out. By the way, during rainy season, don't leave food out because it will spoil. Fun fact, Hokkaido does not have a rainy season. Hay fever. Now you've had a good night's rest, you're drinking plenty of water, maybe had a good cup of coffee, but you just can't seem to get going. It could be hay fever. And by the way, if you speak Japanese, there's a common phrase you hear every single year for the rest of your life. Kotoshi wa toku ni hidoi yo. That means this year is the worst ever. Noise. Even though Japanese love simplicity, you will be surprised at how much noise you hear, especially around Tokyo. Loud speakers everywhere. Ambulances, I don't know if it's because they're echoing off the buildings. Ambulances seem to be louder in Tokyo than anywhere else. But speaking of noise, you go to the grocery store, they might have a tape or recording playing, telling you the specials of the day, repeating over and over again, and then music over here. The person at the front is telling you, "Irashamase," which means welcome to the store. And it seems like they're trying to create an environment of impulse buying by not giving you a chance to look and compare prices. At least that's what it does to me. If you go to a camera store, they got maybe 10 different types of music playing. There's a person over the loudspeaker saying, today cameras are on sale, come check them out, come check them out. And when you walk in, they yell, "Irashamase, welcome to the store." It's extremely hard to focus when you go into an electronics store in Japan. So I usually compare prices online. If it's cheaper at the electronics store, I will go in and buy it, get the heck out. Or I'll just buy it online. You go into a train station, and I think this is because the aging population, they had to crank the volume up so people can hear. The announcements on trains are really super loud. And if you're on a local train, they make an announcement at each stop. So every 2 or 3 minutes, they say, the next station is Tokyo, the next station is Shinjuku.
この電車は山手線内回り上野池袋方面行きです。次は神田。
If you take that train every day, you don't need to be told what the next station is. They also have it up above the door. But for some reason, it seems like they feel the need to announce each station. And when it rains, they'll tell you, don't forget your umbrella on the train. They'll tell you, watch your step as you get off. Lots of announcements, constantly, all day long. That's why I love my AirPods. Sometimes I'm not even listening to music. I just use them to block noise. Cash and cashless. Make sure and carry cash because not everywhere takes a credit card, but some places have gone cashless. There's also an app called PayPay that you can use for payments. Trains. You're going to take lots of trains. Make sure and get a Pasmo or Suica. I believe they stopped making the plastic card. That was the card that you could charge it up and you could use it, but now everything's done on a cell phone. You can even connect that to your watch. Point cards. Every single store you go to has a point card. And they all ask you every time you go there, do you have your point card? It's like a mileage card for airline points. And there are some perks for having them. Sometimes you get cash back. Sometimes you get a little gift. But I think it's mostly for tracking you for advertising. Get used to hanging your laundry outside. Like I said, most Japanese homes don't have a dryer. No place to put it. Just get used to hanging your laundry outside. Check the weather before you do. I've been shocked a couple of times. Wake up to a beautiful sunrise. And in the middle of the day when I'm at work, it starts raining and, your clothes get soaked. You have to wash them again. Now, if you have big things like sheets or blankets, there are laundromats around town. A couple $100 you can dry your sheets. Now, even if you know all these things, you can still end up experiencing culture shock. Fortunately, I got a video about surviving culture shock right there, or you can watch a random video right there.